What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NYG Blue Zone. It's your boy Attikis. Just jumping on today. I got some updates that I wanted to share with you guys. But before I get into that, make sure that you please subscribe, hit that like and notification bell. So every time we drop some content, you'll be one of the first ones notified. We are up to 256 subscribers. We are well on our way to our goal of 500 and beyond. So if you guys would like and subscribe, that would do a lot for our channel. We see that a lot of people engage and they comment and they come and visit us, but the subscriptions are what really does the trick for us and gives us the juice. So if you do that for us, we'd be real grateful. I want to start off with a little bit of news that came out today. A lot of people are unaware, but the Giants have a new owner. The controlling interest still remains with the Mara and Tish families. However, Julia Koch, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Koch brothers, with Koch Industries. They do a lot of different things in the political spectrum of our country. And this isn't about politics in any way, but the the Koch family via Julia Koch are now 10% owners of the New York Football Giants. So that increased their value, the team's value, to $10 billion, which makes them the most valuable sports franchise in America today. So while they are owners and have a 10% minority stake in the company, the controlling interest still rests with the Mara and Tish family. So they're still the ones that'll be making the decisions about personnel, about the administration, the coaching, the general manager. So it really looks like it's more or less for them to build their portfolio on the Coke side, but the team ownership, the team management of it is going to remain pretty much the same as it's been. But that's news. That's big news. So I wanted to share that with you guys. As for our kicker situation, a lot of you already know that Jude McAtemney has been relieved of his duties as the Giants kicker. Yeah, I'm still fuming over the fact that we missed 4 point after opportunities, 2 PATs, and 2 2-point tries. All of them failed. The 2 PATs were just simple missed field goals. There was no rain, no wind, no snow, no pressure, just missed kicks. And by and large, that is the reason why the Giants ended up losing this game against the Denver Broncos. I mean, there were many other things that went wrong, but if you just want a simple way to win, kick your field goals. I mean, they right there. They even have the orange flags on the top. So when the wind blows, it could help you with the trajectory you want to kick it. We didn't even have that. So they relieved him of his duties. Graham Gano was cleared through medical, and he has also fulfilled the injury designation. He was on injured reserve, so he's eligible to return, and he is back. He's already in practice. He seems to be healthy, and I know the Giants really need to move on from Graham Gano at the conclusion of this year, and I think they will. But even if he isn't ready to go for this Sunday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, we have Young Hoo Koo on our roster, and there's plenty of time for them to elevate him off the practice squad if they choose to do so. So we have a competent kicker on the roster for this Sunday's game. So Jude is out, Graham is back, and then we also have a backup plan with Young Hoo Koo. Wide receiver, a lot of us have been really high on some of the news that's been coming out with Jalen Waddle maybe joining the New York Giants. And I think the outcome of this past week's game with the Broncos was going to determine whether or not that was going to happen. So because the Giants didn't win, I think that they're kind of resigned to the idea that this season is not going to be a huge playoff push for them. So they're not going to spend the money, maybe the investments, which I think they still need to do. But they're not doing it at this time. Maybe they're looking at some other pieces in the upcoming draft. I don't know. But they did not sign Jalen Waddle. In fact, who they did sign was Ray Ray McLeod to their practice squad. So while he brings experience and he brings some depth, he is not a long-term solution to the Giants' problems. I personally don't think that they should have signed him. If anything, they should have continued to develop little Jordan Humphrey, which really doesn't need developing as much as he needs to get familiar with the Giants offense and their system. But I think that he is a better option as opposed to signing Ray Ray McLeod. I would have looked at getting some better help at the cornerback position. And while they did bring Corey Black in back on the practice squad, and I got to say, Black played well and did well during training camp. He's familiar with our defense. He's familiar with the players, the schemes. He did well during the preseason. Nothing too flashy, nothing too shiny, but he did well enough to catch some of the coach's eyes. So well that he was picked up by another team, which was the New York Jets. He didn't make it to their active roster other than a couple of games where he played special teams, but I think that he may be a better option for the Giants than Tay Banks. And honestly, Tay Banks is not somebody you need some superior talent to exceed the level of play that he gives us on the field. And I was really high on Tay Banks coming into to the league when the Giants drafted him 3 years ago, but he has so poorly underperformed that I cannot wait until he is no longer on a New York Giants roster. I am really hoping that there's another team in the league that is looking to take a chance on Tay Banks, and we can maybe get a 7th-round pick. I'll take a 7th-round pick. I don't care. But if we can get anything for him just to get him off our roster and put somebody in that spot that's going to be productive for our team, I'd be really, really happy about that. So while Tay Banks is still here, we bring in Ray Ray McLeod. They brought in Corey Black. I think Ray Ray McLeod, we probably could have did without. I don't know why they made that move. I don't know. I think the Giants did a great job of incorporating the tight ends into our passing game, making them threats that teams have to game plan against. And Wan'Dale Robinson has been playing lights out. I mean, I'm very happy with the production that he's given us. Darius Slayton will be back. If not this week, then next week. He's still day-to-day. We don't know what's going to happen with him in that regard. We don't know what's going to happen with Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo. So Black is a good move. And we'll see what happens. The more time he can take away from Tay Banks being the liability that he's been on the field, the better for us. So the other thing I want to mention, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo or Abdul Carter defense, but I'm going to say this. We are 2-5. We are and normally, and I believe you are what your record says you are. I really do believe that, but this 2-5 team is different. This is not the same old New York Football Giants team that we have been used to watching play. In the minute the game started, even before, you already knew we were going to most likely lose, but you were holding on to this real small shred of hope that we would possibly win. I don't have that same feeling about this team. And it's not me looking at this team through blue-colored lenses. It's because this team has shown me so much to get excited about, even in defeat. And these have been some back-breaking losses. I still firmly believe the Giants should be 5-2 had they cleaned up a couple of really small things. Some of them were personnel issues that had nothing to do with the Giants players, that had everything to do with the coaching staff, and other things. I would still say that personnel issues, where you had Jude McIntyre, who's really not an NFL football player. He's a soccer player or whatever it was that he played in Ireland, who just happened to be able to kick the ball well enough to make it on a team, but he should have never been put in that position. Graham Gano's an aging kicker who's had continuous injury issues, and you brought him into the league and didn't have any true kicking competition for the players. That's just negligence on having the right personnel going into the season. And it shows how little the Giants coaching staff and front office paid attention to a critical piece that would have made a huge difference in at least 2 of our games that we had this year. So Personnel is a big issue, but the Giants at 2-5 are still a team that I am extremely excited to continue to look at play football. And I'm excited. I'm excited about the game coming up Sunday. We're going to do a podcast about that. But the Giants are still a great team, a team that's going to give us a lot of reasons to be happy this season and probably for years to come. That being said, I talked about some of the personnel issues, time management issues, certainly the play calls that Shane Bowen has put on the field in situations that we've already seen it doesn't work. I don't see the Giants moving on from our coaches anytime during the season, but I gave this a little bit of thought. Brian Dable, if he were trying to have a one last dash, because I believe he's going to be fired at the end of this year anyway, but if he wanted to try to throw a little bit of a wrinkle in this whole thing and maybe show Mara that he's just as concerned about winning as the Tish and Mara families are, he could fire Shane Bowen. And he can elevate one of the other defensive coaches into a temporary DC position, interim DC position until the end of the year. And I'm sure that some of these guys on that staff have some different ideas about what they would have done and plays they would have called to help ensure victory. And they did not do it because the boss, Shane Bowen, elected to do the same stupid shit that hasn't worked in the past. But if Dable were to do something like that, it would probably catch the eye of Mara and Tish. Not even that Tish says much, but Mara, and say, you know what? Let's ride this out because we like what he's doing with the kid, Jackson Dart. Let's ride it out because we like what he's doing with the offense. And Kafka, I've got no problem what he's been doing, but Dable and Shane, not so much Shane. Dable and Shane Bowen have given me fits. So, but they're not going to move on from them. I understand the reasons why. I think they just want to have some more chemistry that can be developed between these players. And next year, we're going to see some new coaches. But for now, we have not. That's all I have for you guys today. As I get new information, I'm going to be sure to share it with you. But for now, please just remember what I said. Subscribe, like, leave some comments down below. Tell me what you think about things that I've shared with you today. Tell me some things that you disagree with what I shared with you today. But by all means, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. So whenever we drop some new content, you're one of the first persons to get it. Go Big Blue. We'll see you guys on our Eagles preview podcast in the next day or so. Thanks for spending some time with us.